welcome to our geography lesson 4 air video 2. Last video or the first video we have learned that our earth is surrounded by a blanket of an air blanket surrounded by a huge blanket of air called atmosphere, and all the living beings on this earth depend on the atmosphere for their survival. We have also seen the composition of atmosphere. Today we'll learn about structure of atmosphere. Before learning them, I would like to tell you all that our atmosphere is divided into 5 layers. Those are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. You need to remember the sequence. The first layer closest to the Earth's surface is troposphere, and the topmost layer, which is very close to the space, is exosphere. So remember these two. The middle two you have to see. The second layer is stratosphere, third is mesosphere, and fourth is thermosphere. Let's learn them more in detail. Troposphere is a layer. It's very important layer of the atmosphere. Its average height is about 13 kilometers. The air that we breathe exists here. See, so important it is. And all the weather phenomena like rainfall, fog, hailstorm occur in this layer. So, got it? Troposphere from the surface. From here, you can see here in this figure diagram, from this surface, this troposphere starts and extends up to here, that is a 13 kilometer. Now above that you see there is stratosphere. Stratosphere extends up to 50 kilometers. This layer is almost free from clouds and associated weather phenomena, like there's no rainfall or anything. So this is the reason why the plains, it is very suitable conditions prevail here for the flying of aeroplanes. If sometimes you might have heard, if you might have traveled to due to some weather phenomena, like the planes don't land quickly because maybe there's a storm blowing or a very heavy rainfall or something, due to which the planes keep rotating in this, they keep moving up in the stratosphere for some time, and when that weather or the climate is normal, then they land. So stratosphere is very important layer for the airplanes to fly. And the other important thing is it also has the ozone layer, which protects us from ultraviolet radiations of the sun. If this wouldn't have been there, obviously would have burned. So this is very important layer which has ozone also here. The third is mesosphere, which extends up to 80 kilometer, and it lies above stratosphere. Meteoroids burn up in this layer. The meteoroids are the small stone particles from the space coming towards the earth. When they come towards the earth, they enter this layer of atmosphere, and due to the friction of the air and the stone, there's a friction between them, and due to which they are burnt up. And most of the time we see something falling stars. Actually these are not falling stars, or we even call them as Tuta Tara. They are not Tuta Tara or anything, but they are just burnt meteorites. The next layer is thermosphere. This layer extends up to 80 to 400 kilometer, and the layer in the atmosphere is very thin, and the temperature can get extremely hot. And one more important thing is it also has the ionosphere is also a part of this ionosphere, which helps in the radio transmission. In fact, the radio waves transmitted from the earth are reflected back to the earth by this layer, thermosphere. This is also a very important layer. Exosphere, the last layer, which extends about height of 600 kilometers from the earth's surface, and it also extends till the space. This is the last and the thinnest layer of the earth. So we have got now the 5 layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Now after this we'll see weather and climate. Weather and climate. Weather is a temporary condition of the atmosphere at a place. And climate is overall average weather at a place over a period of time. Just let me tell you in more detail or make it more easy for you all. Sometimes we say today's climate is so hot, or even we say today's weather is so cold. Do you mean that what we say about the weather, or we interchangeably use weather and climate, but actually weather and climate are two different factors. And weather is nothing but morning when you get up. Now in this season, you might feel very cold in the morning, right? So the weather is very cold. And in the afternoon, you might suddenly start feeling hot. So the weather changes. The weather has become hot. So this is how the weather changes throughout the day. Whereas climate doesn't change. It is constant. Okay, it remains the same over a period of time. So only when we talk about some particular regions, when we talk about Mumbai, how is the climate of Mumbai? Oh, it's very hot and humid. If you go to Mathiran, Mahabaleshwar, you see, yes, the climate over there is very cold. And even if you talk about the regions and how this is, even if you talk about Sahara Desert, oh, it's very hot. We can also say that weather is an hour to hour or day to day condition of atmosphere. A hot or humid weather may make one irritable, and a pleasant and breezy weather may make one cheerful and even plan for outing. And as I told you, climate, the weather condition, average weather condition of a place for a long period of time represents the climate of a place. Now you might have understood that why do we have daily weather forecast? If you even see the newspaper or maybe in your mobiles, you have that weather forecast, whether it's windy, cloudy, or it's going to rain, right? And the more easy way to learn weather and climate is weather tells you what to wear. Morning you feel cold when you're coming to school. Oh, it's so cold. So you always will have a sweatshirt and you carry a sweatshirt and you come to school, right? But by afternoon you started feeling hot and you remove it out. But climate will tell you what types of clothes you should have, woolen clothes or cotton clothes or other what types of clothes should have in your closet. That's what climate will tell you. Okay, this I've already told. Weather, day-to-day condition of atmosphere, climate, average weather conditions at a place which exists for a long period of time. And weather of the place does not remain constant. It keeps changing, whereas climate remains constant for a long period of time. And you all know when we talk about weather and climate, it's all about the temperature, wind, and all that. So there are some instruments used to measure them. So these are called weather instruments. So the first instrument here is thermometer. Thermometer measures the air temperature. Even when you get fever, if you go to doctor, even not doctor, nowadays we all might have got the thermometers at home due to this COVID. थोड़ा भी fever अगर चलो check कर लो कुछ fever तो नहीं बढ़ रहा है. So this thermometer tells you the body temperature. So that there is a thermometer which also measures the air temperature, whether the temperature of the air is more or less. And how does this happen? The air around this thermometer heats up. This heated up melts the liquid, or we can't say melt, sorry, liquid is liquid. It expands the liquid, and the red line which you see, it extends up and moves up the tube. The scale then shows the actual temperature. The other instrument is used is air pressure. Barometer. Barometer measures the air pressure. Like it tells when we stand on the earth, we are actually under the pressure. There is air pressure on us. And this pressure is measured with the help of barometer, whether it is rising or falling, depending upon the conditions. And an Italian scientist named Torricelli built the first barometer in 1643. Next is we also measure the speed of the wind by anemometer, and we measure the rainfall fallen over the specific time with the help of rain gauge. Here in rain gauge you see you have a container, and inside there is again a small tube with the scale. So when the water falls or the rain falls in that tube, and as it fills, we come to know how much the rainfall has taken place. You might have seen, okay, so and so particular, so 400 millimeters of rainfall occurred, or 200 millimeters of rainfall has occurred. This is how the rain is measured. The last instrument that we know will learn is about wind vane. This wind vane is an instrument that determines the direction from which the wind is blowing. You see the cock over there and the east, west, north, south. So it shows from where the wind is coming. So children, this was all about video 2 in which we learned layers of the atmosphere, that is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. We have also learned the difference between weather and climate. Don't forget these two are different words. And we have also seen the weather instruments like thermometer, barometer, rain gauge and wind vane, which are used for measuring temperature, air pressure, rainfall and direction of the wind. Okay children, bye for now. Have a nice day. Next video we'll learn about temperature, air pressure and wind. Bye. Have a nice day.